Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. How has been our day? Please, we can briefly unmute our microphones. How has been our day, please?
Very fine, thank you.
Okay. So I welcome everyone to another amazing session of Graphic Design Masterclass, the speaker series. And so far, I think we have some people that have been, joining us. You can all testify that it's been such, it's been an amazing series from the very first one, second one, third one, and today we are having the fourth one with one of the very best people I know in the Nigerian creative industry. That's the person of Femo Lacarrot. That's the brand name, also the nickname. So it's one of the most versatile designers I know. Sincerely, it is vast in various aspects of design. So let me just quickly ask, how has been the experience so far? Anyone just wants to share with us one or two things?
Well, it's been wonderful from the first episode till now. I think that's the word for it.
Okay.
And inspiring, insightful.
Wow. Thank you very much for that. So before our speaker he would be teaching us, sharing from his wealth of knowledge in less than a minute. Thank you very much. And I welcome you one more time. I believe you have an amazing session this evening. So Mr. Olufemi Akingbola, aka Femo Lacarrot, you're welcome, sir. It's good to have you on board today.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I'm super delighted to be here. Thank you again, Nicholas. I welcome everybody in this space this evening. And like you said, I believe and hope that this is going to be, a delight. I'm going to learn. You're going to learn. Everybody's going to learn here. Okay, so jumping into it straight up. My name is Oluwafemi Akingbola, as you all know, and my nickname started from Lacarrot Design, and it's translated into business name. From Lacarrot Design. Probably, if you want to know the meaning of that name, you should probably drop some messages in my DM, and then I'm going to explain the origin of the name and where the name comes from and all that. But yeah, that's the name of the business, Lacarrot Design. And the whole wrap up of it is to make you realize and understand that without your eyes, you can't appreciate design. And without your mind, you can't, harness design the right way it should be harnessed. So yeah, jumping into today's beautiful topic by GNK himself. So it's so I'm just going to share my screen now, so you can see me while I share my screen. So if you can see my screen, just say hey, I can see your screen, and if you can't, just let me know. So can you see my screen?
Hey, I can see your screen.
All right, so great. Thank you for that feedback. All right, again, I'm Oluwafemi Akingbola, and the topic for today is navigating opportunities in design. And I don't know why he picked me for this topic, but based on what he said, there's a vast, not to a very large extent, there's a vast knowledge I've gathered over the years I think over 11 years in the world of design, and I've touched some bits, I've done some things, and I know what works and what doesn't work, what you should do and what you should not do, at least to a very large extent. And yes, I'm still learning because there are a lot of things, dip my hands into when it comes to design. So yes, I think, let me just go to the next slide. I think you should know about me already. Yes, that's me. I'm Oluwafemi Akingbola. I'm a graduate of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I studied industrial design, and I dived into the graphics option. And yes, over my 10 years of experience, I've worked with a lot of big brands from the agricultural space to the financial space to the e-commerce space to telecom space, to branding. I've touched some parts, and in working with these guys, I've been able to use my skills in 3D, 2D, 3D animation, 2D animation, photo manipulation, videography, video editing, photo editing, whatever. I've been able to, use a lot of my skills, even to virtual reality, to, push the project's aim and goals and objectives to where it's supposed to be. So yeah, and I'm focused, and I'm driven. My passion. I'm passionate about good designs. I'm passionate about good designs that follow process that exemplifies simplicity and problem solving. Yeah. So moving on, I'll just briefly show you one or two things in which I've been able to dabble into. So most of the works I've done, most of these works are they have NDAs on top, so I can't just share them here. But the very few I can share, which is based on my own business, well, I can always share all that. But trust me when I say I've worked digitally and even traditionally with a lot of brands. So yeah, so this is we're dabbling into, again, navigating opportunities in design. So yeah, this is my business, right? And it's a business of virtual reality. It's a virtual reality business. It's a creative community business where we gather creative people from different walks of life. We teach them how to learn, how to earn, how to collaborate with each other, and most importantly, groom them to be able to stand on their own and make money from what they love. Yeah. So we had our MySpace event about 1 year ago, and then yes, it's a virtual event. We're able to build our first, I would call it first metaverse. I'm quoting it now, metaverse. We'll call it the creatorverse. So we had our events in there, and still we're able to understand that different parts of designs need to be brought together to achieving this, from your UI UX to your graphics design, to 3D art, to 3D animation, to virtual reality system, to logic block writing. That's a little bit of coding and all that. We came up to having this, even to community management and development. So yeah, and yeah, we have our own NFTs in our community, whereby if you own one of our NFT in our creative community, you'll be exposed and given some utilities and a lot of things popping up in our community. So yeah, we've been able to spread our tentacles even into the crypto space, right? Again, by having NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So yeah, we have our community all around, all across board. We've been trying some experiments on our TikTok page, and yeah, it's been working. We started this page with about 70 followers, and it grew to about 265 within the space of 3 weeks, right? Based on the kind of content we're posting. And yes, we're on Facebook, and of course we're on Instagram. You can check us out on these 3 platforms at FemolaCarrot.design to see what it is that we are actually doing, like what exactly these guys do. So now to the main topic, why are we talking about navigating the design space today? Yeah, before I go, we also have a Discord community where different people come together to share their ideas, try to critique other people's design, get to know each other and learn and do what is needed to be done. And also, yes, it's also NFT centered. So here we go. Moving to the main topic for today. Yeah, navigating design opportunities. So first of all, I'll first define what opportunities are. Yeah. So opportunities, basically, dictionary definition, are like a good chance for advancement or progress. Opportunities are like openings. We call them openings. So a lot of people say opportunities come but once, opportunities are once in a lifetime. I would say, or I always say, because of the kind of person I am, I'm so optimistic yet pragmatic. But I would say that opportunities don't come only once. Opportunities come when you see them. Or let me say, if your mind sees them. Opportunities are everywhere. Opportunities are everywhere, and they come every day. They don't come once. So now opportunities when applied to design, right, means the chance for advancement in the design industry. So looking at it again, we have a lot of fields in the design industry, and defining opportunities like this, you need to understand that there are a lot of places you can dabble into in the design space. But this time, I would try to replace the word design space with digital media space. Let me use that so that you have a broader knowledge about that. So opportunity is just finding that place that you can advance, that place that you can niche on, sit there and advance in that field. I believe that is opportunity, and it's very, very important for us to know that opportunity again doesn't come at once. Opportunities are everywhere. So it just depends on how your mind can see it. So yeah, and navigation, like we all know, navigation is just I'll call it a C term, or let me say a compass term, or let me say a sailor's term. Sailors use that a lot. So to navigate like means to properly align yourself to your goal, right? By following step by step to where you want to be. So navigating opportunities in design. So this is where we are. So yeah, so moving on, the very first thing to know is that when finding your way in the industry, there are certain things we need to understand. And if you check well, all these things correlate even almost across all industries. First thing you need to do is to identify opportunities. And I'm going to explain how you can identify opportunities. Second, you can know which opportunity to take. And third, you can navigate these opportunities. So you would agree with me that in our world of today, there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of people, a lot of things, bringing up, from NFTs to virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, graphics design, UI, UX, 3D animations, whatever. And then you sit to ask yourself, what exactly do I want to do? If you are not careful, you try to be jack of all trades, and it may break you because the industry is getting wider, it's getting deeper. And if you're not careful, you may not even learn anything if you're trying to learn everything at once. So the very first thing is to identify opportunities. Like I said, do you know that graphic design may not be as lucrative as it was about 10 to 20 years ago? You know why? Because there are new fields that are bringing up, right? It may still be very lucrative, but to me, I tell myself, a roadside artist can make graphics. You can just, because see, the major essence of graphic design is to, push out information, let people know this is what is happening here and this is what it's all about. Simple. Buy my product or attend my event or see what is happening here. That's what graphic design does most times. And then, okay, so the beautiful parts, the color parts just makes it more alluring and attractive to people. So now, how do I identify opportunities? The very first thing to know, or the very first thing to note in identifying opportunities is that you need to find the interest in your heart. So if your mind or your heart or your head doesn't find alignment with whatever it is you want to identify as an opportunity, it's going to be hard for you. But before we even go that route, you also need to take a lot of readings. You need to read, you need to read vast, you need to meet people, enter communities, talk to people, get people in your circle. You don't have to sit down in your house and say, okay, I'm trying to learn design. In fact, don't waste money first. Don't say, okay, I want to go and learn design with 800,000 or something. The digital space first, or let me say, read about graphic design first and say, okay, this design industry, what's it all about? We still have, we have systems design, we have industrial design, we have product design, right? Inside industrial design, we have product design, we have systems design, like I mentioned earlier. So you need to sit down and understand where exactly it is you want to grab the opportunity from. Then, secondly, know which opportunity to take. So after identifying the opportunities, like a long list of the things you want to become, or a long list of the things available to you, let me tell you, in identifying opportunities, again, that's point one. The very simple thing to do, just identify the areas in the field you want to. Now, in this regard, we're talking about design. So have your list: UI, UX, graphic design, industrial design, 3D arts, 3D animation, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, game design, game development. Just list everything out. Interaction design, system design. Make sure you list them out. And then you can now decide to read or research one by one on this, right? So once you read and research, you find the one that goes with your heart. Then secondly, knowing which opportunity to take. So once you are about reading, like you've read everything you need to read, research what you need to research, to know the opportunity to take, you also need to know the direction in which the world is going, in which the digital space is going. So you cannot, so 20 years ago, or no, about 50 years plus ago, being a sales boy was the in thing, right? People wanted to be sales boys. People wanted to work in the newspaper industry, right? But now nobody wants to do that anymore. Now people want to dabble into tech. They want to code. They want to do UI UX. So imagine you have a design opportunity that you said you've already seen, and then the opportunity only avails you designing in the newspaper industry, and you're like, that's what I want to go into. Bro or sister, you may actually be shortchanging yourself. So you need to go in the direction the trend is going. Now, I'm quoting it. Go in the direction the trend is going in the sense that where is the world going on this matter? You know, it's not all trends you should follow, you know, right? But go in the direction the world is going to be able to harness what you need to harness. And then thirdly, navigating the opportunities in design, which is our main topic. So once you are able to go in the direction, probably you decide to choose a UI UX, then you now say, okay, how do I navigate my UI UX? In navigating your UI UX, for example, you know that you should understand and learn graphic design. You should understand and learn human emotions and psychology, right? To be able to understand how people think. You should be able to understand project management and so on, you know, but it may not, so you should actually understand some more than the other. For example, I believe you should understand graphic design more than probably project management. So if your graphic design understanding is about 90%, the project management should be about 30 to 40% to be able to manage whatever it is you're managing. That is as a UI designer, again, not as a project manager in the UI industry or in the design industry. So also, you can decide to say, I don't know how to design. I don't know how to, in fact, I don't want to design because design is not my forte. You can say, I want to be a community manager in the design space. Yes, it's an opportunity. I want to be a project manager in the design space. I want to be a consultant. I want to be the owner of a community such that people will come together and meet each other and, you know, like Fiverr. You don't necessarily have to be a graphic designer to have those opportunities, but there are some opportunities that you require you capital. So moving on to the next point, it says existing opportunities in the design industry. So I'm not listing all those things here, right? This is just going to be more of an explanation to the existing, opportunities. So first, it says the ways to get into design are endless. With new roles being created every day, like I said, every day we have new roles. Now, when the when the Web3 era started, we started hearing things like community manager, NFT artist, different new, like, and you're like, where is this coming from? Some people say they are NFT marketers, they are NFT promoters, whatever. As long as you are able to fix yourself in that space, right, you are fine. Some people call themselves project managers of NFT. Some people even manage NFT artists. As long as you are able to identify these opportunities, you are good to go. Then second, it says there's graphic design, UI, UX design, photography, animation, interior design, yes, all that, right, be mentioned. If you are not actually a designer, you can still get into the space as, like I said, as an ads or promotion manager, HR staff, community manager, and others. So if you don't know how to design again, or you don't want to design, but you love the design space, you don't necessarily have to be a designer to be in the design space and navigate opportunities. Like we have, you can be an HR staff, you can be a community manager, you can be a promotions manager, you can be an interior designer. just telling people. In fact, you can just go study about colors. You may not need to sit down on the computer to understand the intricacy of our design software. You can just understand, oh, this color, primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors, okay, your complementary colors, analogous colors, and triads. This is how to use this and that, and then understand your colors well. You can be, an interior designer. You can be a creative director. Well, but before you become a creative director, there are some years of experience and expertise you must have had in graphic design, though. But in the world, we are things are evolving fast, and you should know that it's not a must for you to, dabble deeply into some things before you attain some things. Yeah. So moving on. So identifying opportunities, again, like I mentioned, it says it involves making the right decisions, actually. And the goal is to make sure your environment is a reflection of what you become. The very first thing I do, telling you a story, is that over the past 10 years, I've been able to sit down to tell myself that how can I harness different skills? So I can sit to say today I want to be a UI UX designer in the next 4 months. Everything in my timeline, or let me say everything on my timeline, everything in which I'm interacting with will be connected to UI UX. For example, I will tailor my playlist on YouTube to UI UX designers, my followers on Instagram, my TikTok, if they are there, my followers on Facebook, my podcast, the podcast I listen to, these newsletters I subscribe to, yeah, everything will be tailored to UI UX, such that once I'm receiving notifications, these notifications remind me that, guy, you want to become this. That's the very first thing. See, your environment, even my physical friends, right? Attend events that call UI UX designers. For example, like I said, I want to be a UI UX designer, in this example that I'm citing. Make sure your environment and everything you're doing is speaking to whatever it is you want to become. You don't want to become a banker, for example, and then you are surrounding yourself with information that a microbiologist is surrounding yourself with. You may never succeed in that field. That's the same thing. So you read articles, you watch news, you watch movies about that topic, you attend events. So it says make it then. Now you have to make research and list out the fields. That's actually how to even start identifying opportunities. So I have this earlier, my list of UI UX, this, that, like listing everything, and then I go out one after the other to understand the job description of these guys, to understand what these guys can earn. Because number one, money can be your motivation or passion, or the people, or the value you want to give. Those are for now, let me say 4 things that can be your motivation: money, the people, the passion, and the value you want to give. So if money is your motivation, well, good luck to you. Keep chasing money. If value is your motivation, of course, money will chase you, but it will take some time, because it takes time before people see value. But once they see value, man, you are good to go. If it's people, why not? You can target your people. And remember, in giving value, you are also chasing people, right? And in chasing people, people will chase you with their money. And then last ingredient, passion, is very, very important for you to have passion. Whether you are in for the money or you are in for the people, there should be passion for something. It's either you have passion for the money or passion for the people. Passion is your driver, and it should drive you to whatever it is you want to become. So when you're researching, it's not a must you have a passion for everything like me. I love my digital world, and I have passion for almost everything. So if you don't have passion for graphics design and you have passion for community management, why not? You can be a community manager in the graphics and design industry. So secondly, take note of what you want to specialize in. I think I've mentioned that point. What exactly do you want? Specialize, like just circle it out. Again, everybody in design industry doesn't have to know how to operate Photoshop or Illustrator. You don't have to do that. It's not a must. Then thirdly, join an active community. Community is one of the sweetest things that can happen to a creative designer. So in my 11 years of graphic design, how many minutes do we have here?
We're still on. I would notify us when we have less than 10 minutes.
All right. All right, thank you very much. So in my 11 years plus of graphic design and everything, I understood probably, let's say, 5 to 6 years in that community is super important. So I joined the ArtStation community, the Dribble community, the Behance community, started following people, and things started getting better because anytime I want to design and I design something, I go back to my Pinterest. I go back to these creative communities. I won't call Pinterest a community though, but yeah, I can call it a community for myself because that's where I get inspiration from there. And I get inspiration from people, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think this is better, or I should do this better, or I should add this, or I should remove this. Joining a community is so sweet. That's where you get people to critique your work, people to say, no, do it this way, don't do it this way, people to collaborate with you, even if both of you are starters. It is important. You can never be good when you're standing alone. Nobody's an island, yeah? So you need to enter a community. And of course, network with people in your field. I can't overemphasize this, I can't overstress this. Network with people in your field, probably people ahead of you, or people, or you are on the same level, or people, let me use the word that started after you, yeah? Network with people, attend physical events. The moment I realized that physical events are super important, I won't say it's late, but yeah, I'm happy that I realized that at this very young stage in my life. Once you go out to meet people, you see that your tentacles spread. In fact, people want to meet you. That's the truth. So once you have it in your head that, oh, I'm shy, no, I don't want them to know I'm busy for them. Imposter syndrome and the syndrome of, oh, I'm better than them, whatever. All those things kill designers, like it ruins designers. So you should please meet people, go out, speak to people, enter communities, attend events, right? Enter webinars like this, even if it's gonna be 2 people in. I've entered webinars like that, and I've learned a lot from those things that if we're 100 people, probably I would have been distracted. So do that, search for, but before you get to network with people, join active community and blah, 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 remember, you need to surround yourself, your environment, what you hear, what you listen to, with what you want to become, like with information from where you want to become, from what you want to become. So let the information seep in from this part so that it gets into you, and then you become it, like your mindedness, right? You are minding what you want to become. It's gonna be easy that way. Your mind is your personality. So you need to understand that you are feeding your personality with what it is you want to become. So moving on. So now, knowing which opportunity to take, the goal, right, is not to say yes to every opportunity, like I said. That's not the goal. That is not the goal at all. You can just say yes to 2, 3, 4 opportunities, you're fine. But rather, take advantage of opportunities when they fit into your schedule and worth your time. That's by Crystal Matthews. Exactly the point. I don't think I have to overstress that. It says, number 1, if these opportunities align with your vision, your values, right, you should stick with them. For example, not everything in the design world is what I do. No, I don't. I don't do everything, but I wish I could. My brain works 247, like, guy, design, you can do this better. But I'm like, guy, face your front. There are some things you shouldn't even dabble into because it's going to waste your life, because it doesn't align with my vision and value. My own vision is to make sure that we mentor and build and help creative people earn, learn, and become better. So if it's something outside that, I'm not going into it. Second, are you drawn to it? Like I said, are you drawn to it? So if you're drawn to it, it is very, very important. Your passion makes you drawn to these things. Make sure that you are drawn to it. Your heart yearns for it. Then you are certain of personal and professional growth. Yes, are you certain of growth? It's not that, because everybody is rushing into UI UX, God, and I'm like, God, why? And we have a lot of people that are not even making $10. because probably it's because everybody is rushing into it. It doesn't even align with their vision. It's not even giving them personal growth because maybe it's hard, maybe hard for them and they're just struggling. It won't give them growth, right? Look for that thing that gives you growth. It can be just designing characters, just illustrating characters for people. Yes, like it can be as simple as that. Then also, does this thing you call opportunity, does it create opportunity for you to impact others? These are the things I've checked in my own life. I told myself, if my business doesn't tick all these things, then there's no point doing from an apparel design. There's no point doing white space creators. There's no point for me being in this webinar today, on this webinar I'm in today. So does it create opportunity for me to impact you guys? If I'm impacting you guys, I'm fine. If I'm impacting other people, I am super, super fine. So these are the things to check. If you are missing one, then you should go back to check because all are as important as any other, right? So moving on, how do you navigate these opportunities? In fact, I have them here. So the first is you talk to people in that specific field. Like I said, talk to people in that specific field above you or that started after you or you on the same level. Talk to people, rub minds. Let people see your designs. Don't keep your design. My design is so fine for this guy's eyes, or my design is not good enough. I don't want people to yab me. I don't want to let them yab you, right? You sieve out the information, pick out what is good for you, and remaining that is not discard. But also remember, do not expect people to give you thumbs up every time. Do not expect people to give you thumbs down. Expect nothing from people. Show your work, and people will just give their candid and honest opinion, and you go so that you won't be hurt. Do not expect too much from people. Then get a mentor. It is super important. You need a mentor. A mentor may not necessarily have to go to this person's house and prostrate to the person or start paying the person, but someone that can guide you, because mentors help shorten your learning curve. I've made a lot of mistakes in design. Yeah, I had one or two mentors here and there, but trust me, anyone I'm mentoring in design, there's some mistakes they cannot make. I will tell you before you even start. You can't do that because I've done it. I've lost money. I've lost time. I've lost materials. I've lost a lot of things. So get a mentor. Mentoring is super important. And then attend events, like I said. I don't think I have to overstretch that. Attend events, tailor to your field. Get courses, online courses, physical courses, get courses, articles, read articles, right? Then, of course, practice. That cannot be overemphasized. Everybody practices, even till tomorrow. Practice until you grow old and you go to be with the Lord. Practice, make sure you get better by today. Even if it's today, I learned how to draw a line. Practice, you get better by today. You know, precept upon precepts. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. Practice. Then read books. If you're not a book reader, trust me, once you open your Google and you enter articles to read what you're passionate about, you would actually read about 50 pages and you don't know. Once you're passionate about it, you read the books, right? So read books about these things. Read books, read articles, and then collaborate. Don't say, I want to have the glory, I want to get the whole glory. Yes, I made those mistakes. You know, because yes, I know I was talented, or I am talented. I know how to do this and that, how to get my way through stuff. But trust me, it is stressful. Why not just call someone that knows how to do that part that you want to stress yourself on, and then you guys collaborate, and you guys get the, in quotes now, glory together on the work, instead of saying how to get the glory and the work will never get done. Like how many projects I have in my trash can because I didn't want to collaborate. And at the end of the day, I see somebody doing the project. I'm like, oh, I wish I had collaborated. So collaborate and then put your works out. No matter how good it is, you know, no matter how bad it is. I'm doing something recently, critiquing people's works. I don't know if you've seen our videos on TikTok or Instagram or even on my WhatsApp status, you know. Okay. Okay, so put your works out. Put your works out, no matter what people say. In fact, what people say gets you better, makes you better. You want to, you know, beat what that person said last. But again, don't let what people say break you down. Don't even let it be your motivation. You have to be your own motivation. But also, in the same vein, put your works out. Let people know what you do. It is very, very easy to get into people's minds and for you to get into people's subconscious, for them to know that this is what you do. It takes a very short time, and be consistent with it. Consistency is super important. And then moving on. So again, keep in mind that navigation goes deeper, right? It goes deeper than what I've explained here. You also have to ask yourself, do you want to grow a career or a business? That stage, everybody will have to get to that stage. Do I want to grow a career to just keep working with people and helping people grow their businesses and earning my salary, JJ? Or do I want to grow a business and go through the stress of being an entrepreneur, of a startup, and then writing documents and flowcharts and pitching to investors and all that, and have a business out of it? The choice is yours. Then also, growing a career involves helping others, helping someone else build their business. And being like I said, yes. So do you want to help other people build their businesses? Trust me, everybody is not meant to be a business owner. There are some people that they are calling their purpose is to help other people grow their businesses, and they are doing excellently well, and they are living a very good life, a comfortable life. So everybody doesn't have to be a business. A business is building a career. So, but not 100%, and I will explain that. So we have to. So, like I said, in navigating these opportunities, you may have the money, right, and little passion for design, but you don't know how to design. You can say, you know what, I want to build a design business. So you can be the business owner, the CEO, the entrepreneur, and the big guy, and you employ people to run your creative agency or your design agency. But trust me, there are pros and cons to that too. So when we get back from this Zoom break, I would explain the dichotomy between building a business and building a career, the pros and cons, and the opportunities in there. So okay. Yes, so let me just wrap this up. And yeah, a business and a career. So for me, what I'm doing is I have a career, and can you see my screen still? Okay, yes, you can. So there is, it makes me more fulfilled because there's a business part of my career. I've worked with people that they have no idea running an agency or whatever, but they are the owners, they're the CEOs. And how did that happen? Maybe most of them just discovered, oh, there's money in this thing, or I can manage these people, I can have a business in this thing. I'll just have designers bring them together and pay them stipends, and then I make the big money and go. A lot of that happened in this our space. And that's why it's important to know that your owners, your founders, your founders, your CEOs need to know about the business. They need to know about the business. Let me just put it that way. You need to have a career in it. That's what I believe, and that's what I feel. So that's why I consistently and constantly am building a career in this design space, so that I will be able to intelligibly interact with the people I work with, the people that work with me in the business. So, and not every career is a business, and not every business is a career. So some people just want to build a career in UI UX, yeah, but they don't want to make a business out of it. They just want to collect salary and go. Collect salary and improve their life. Save, invest, collect salary, save, invest, and move on. There's some people, they want to just collect the salary from maybe being a graphic designer and turn the money into selling computers for graphic designers. It still has the business side to it, but like I said, it's still an opportunity, because selling gadgets for design guys is still an opportunity. You can sell graphic tablets, you can sell laptops, whatever it is. So spread your mind. When somebody says, I want to join the design industry, don't narrow your mind to this person just wants to design and go, right? Then a career is an occupation or profession, especially one requiring special training, followed as one's life work, while a business is an enterprising entity or organization that carries out professional services. Yeah, that's the difference. But like I said, some people build a business out of their career. They drag a business out of their career. So here is a very good example. So moving forward to the next slide. So the opportunities in design industry, these are listed by a few, right? So we have graphic design, multimedia and 3D animation, photography, architecture, UI, UX, interior design, arts, web design, you name them. So I'll just pick a few here, and I'll tell you something that you will find one everywhere here, and that is graphic design as a king. I call him the king. You find graphic design everywhere here, like everywhere. But also, you can't say because you find graphic design everywhere here, you are able to work as a graphic designer in a, for example, video game design industry. The truth is, as much as we find graphic design in all these fields, they have their styles. They have the way the graphic designs appear in these industries. So for multimedia and 3D animation, you know that you are doing a lot of 3D arts and texturing and rigging and whatever 3D thing that needs to be done in there. For photography, you know, you are doing a lot of retouching, you are doing a lot of set design, you are setting up a studio, you are doing a lot of lighting, you are doing a lot of studio management. That is still under the design industry, you know, studio management. What's this thing called now? Manager, you know, managing an artist or managing a model or managing an entire agency that's into photography. We have architecture, right? Those guys that do buildings. In architecture, you can have interior design, you can have structural design, you can have some people, right? In architecture, they only focus on designing pillars. That's all, like pillar. They just design pillars and they were so good at it. So it is not impossible to focus on a little bit, a little tip in design. You can decide to say, I want to just be a rigger in animation, or I want to just be a texturer, someone that textures 3D models. And you'll be so good at it that people will say, no, this guy is the best texturer, is the best rigger, whatever. Then we have UI, UX design, what everybody runs to and everybody shouts for. But the truth is, the very truth about this is this. There's a very, 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 very big and small difference between UI and UX. Everybody is shouting at me, UI and UX design, and I'm like, bro, you are not even done with understanding UI. You are saying you are entering UX. UI is user interface. UX is user experience. And design there is not only talking about screens. It talks about the entire thing from research to information, sieving to psychology to the project management. So let me just redefine design to you. So design is bringing is methodologically bringing steps together to solve a problem. Design is not circles and squares and lines and shapes. No, it is actually solving a problem using strategic methods and systems. So if I am a UI UX designer, I'm a UI designer because I understand graphics design and I understand how a designer will emote when he's using my products. This person should be able to smile when using my products, access buttons easily, access functions easily, and this thing should be able to lead the person to the solution of their problems. And then the UX part is, how does this person again emote? How do you put the interaction so smoothly? How do you make the experience like so smooth and lively? So it's interwoven, but a lot of people mix it up. So once they design screens, they tell you, I'm a UI UX designer. That is so wrong. So people should make research, dive deep into and understand what you call UI UX design. And we have interior designer. These guys, like I said, as an interior designer, you can work with, a photography studio, an art studio, an architect. You can even work with a video gamer. You can work with a 3D art, a 3D game studio, whatever. Then as a web designer, we know what those guys do. We also have web developers. So some people are web developers, but they don't know graphic design. And then some people are web designers, they don't know web development. But some people are so blessed, they know web design and web development. These two things are different. You can design the UI of the web, but the development can be so terrible, such that if they click buttons on your website that you developed, it will start malfunction. Why? Because you are not a developer. So there are opportunities in this space. And we have fashion design. It's, in fashion design, some people are just limited to I sew cloth on the machine. You know, when I was doing the NFT stuff, I learned how to, you know, make garments about some, is it 6, 7 years ago? I think when I was in my 200 levels. And now it's making sense to me because it made me easily wear my 3D models, good clothes for the NFTs. All those NFTs, all the clothes were done and made in a 3D software by somebody that understands how to actually cut patterns of clothes and sew them together. So fashion design is moving. In fact, people mix augmented reality and virtual reality with fashion design, such that the fashion of tomorrow, they have runways, digital runways. The fashion of tomorrow is seen in the digital space. You don't even have to sit down on the computer on the machine and start sewing. So I can decide to say, okay, fashion design aligns with my vision and values, and I love it, I'm passionate about it, but I don't want to sit down on the machine. Guess what? I can just design the clothes in my 3D software, because we have 3D software that cater to 3D garments. I'll design it and make good, products out of it. And guess what? I'll be an authority in that field. Then we have interaction design. That is another one on its own. It's different from UI UX, but it's similar. So interaction design is, as the name implies, how do you design people's interaction with products, with people, with systems, with the environment? For example, how do you want people to interact with Google websites? There are people that design your interaction with Instagram. So they want you to swipe in Reels. They want you to be able to save. They want you to be able to do some things. So the interaction design, though yes, it is very similar to UI UX, but it has a little bit of difference because it has systems embedded in it, systems and interactions design. And we have video game design. We have being a creative director. That one is like for people that's art directors and creative directors, for people that have been considerably long in the industry and they feel the need to they now know that okay, they can direct some things, right, based on their experiences and where they've worked. Yes, then they can directly create and creatively direct projects and teams and designs. Remember, I said design is a system, right, that helps you solve a problem. Methodologically, aligned and arranged to solve a problem and to reach an objective. Then we have textile design. Textile design is not fashion design. Again, textile design, let me just break it down. Textile design, one of the things that happens to textile design is the fact that you will be able to, for example, design patterns, I mean, cloth patterns, like patterns on your cloths. You can design how the shape of the cloth will be. You can design, but most importantly, the design patterns on textiles. You can even you can start making rugs, rugs, like foot mat and all that. It's still under textile. So anything that encompasses that textile industry, right? Textile design, but again, it's different from fashion design, right? So we dragged out, I would say we dragged out fashion design from textile design. Textile is the entire yard, the clothes, right? Then advertising, that's what is most popular in this side of the world. Everybody has an advertising agency. Let me advertise for you. I'll buy you media buying, billboard, design for billboard and flyers and all that, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's an opportunity there. And then we have product design or industrial design. In product design, some people call UI UX product design. Well, it can pass and it cannot pass. So UI UX can be called product design because it has digital product attached to it. But when we talk about product design or product and industrial design, we talk about hardware, like your phones, your laptops, your car, your wristwatch, your extension box, your phone chargers, your telephones, your landlines, your whatever. Those things are products. Even to your chairs, your wardrobes and cupboards. So for example, this background that I'm in, this is a 3D artwork and it was done by me. So this is another opportunity. You may not see it, right? But you can actually start creating backgrounds for apps, for meetings, for what do they call these things? For virtual worlds, because we're in the Web3 world and we just started. We just started like taking the surface. And trust me, everybody rushing into UI UX. If you cannot sustain it, it will be like the way people ran into graphic design then. Now everybody is a graphic designer, in quotes. So I'm just saying, so you can have to do things like this, all these cupboards, chairs, and whatever, what have you. Make them in 3D, render them, and send them out as what's needed to be done, right? Because I just made these things for myself for my virtual meetings because I don't want anybody to see my beautiful space. All right, moving on. So next, I think, yeah. So thank you very much. I don't have to overtalk, but if you have questions, please just let them out to me. If I can answer them, I will. And if I can't, well, I'll tell you that I can't answer them, but I hope I should be able to. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you, GMK.
Wow, 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 wow. That was epic. That was such an amazing session with Femo Lacarrot, the founder of Femo Lacarrot Design. Yes. Okay, so a quick one before we go into the question and answer session, because I know a couple of us would have some things to ask our guest speaker for today. Okay, so we would have some amazing some questions. So a quick one, I'll just some from what our speaker has said, I would just like to add 1 or 2 points. Is about, okay, some of us might be wondering like, oh, this thing seems overwhelming. Product design, UI, UX, blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you even discover which one do I specialize in? So in addition to what, our speaker has said, this is what I'll just say to that is, it's okay if you are just starting and you just learn across board. Like you can start out being a generalist. Like, of course, start out learning the basics because that's the principle of design, because it applies to everything we are talking about. Photography, UI, UX, the principles, the foundational principles are the same. So you can start out being a generalist. It's called horizontal learning. So then as you move on, that's for some of us, it's easy to just easily to discover your interest. Oh, okay, I just want to be a photographer, maybe, or I want to specialize in iconography or something, you just want. But for some, it's not easy to discover that, oh, this is what I want to specialize in. So it's okay, you starting out just learning across board. Then as you go on, you would, within yourself, you would find out, you can decide that, okay, I want to specialize in this. So when you're specializing, because I actually mentioned this in the last, episode we had, but I didn't really explain. So just clarifying it, like in specializing, it's a vertical learning. So now you are going deep into a particular field, like you are becoming a master in that field. You started out learning horizontally, now you're learning vertically. So it makes you become a sort of T-shaped learning, like the shape of letter T. So, which is not bad. We have quite a number of people that are vast. If you have the capability to learn quite a number of things, our guest speaker is someone who is versatile. Myself, I can't really say this is what I'm totally specialized in for now, but okay, I project myself more as a brand designer, but that's not all I do in the creative space. So what I'm saying is you can start out just learning across board, horizontal learning. Then as you move on, you can decide, okay, where do I want to specialize in? Do I want to be a UI designer, interaction designer? Do I want to be a brand? You can even specialize in just making logos. You get, so once you discover that, it makes it, easier and more beautiful for you. So, and then it's addition as well. It's good you start out having a goal in mind. So the goal helps your focus. When I say it helps your focus, this is what I'm saying. If I have a goal to build a skyscraper, I know that I can't do the foundation of a bungalow for a skyscraper. So I know that, oh, I'm building a skyscraper. The foundation has to be solid. And one thing that makes it easy for you to navigate between different design field is when you have a solid background in one. Once you are picking up another, it makes it so much easier. And I believe our guest speaker can as well testify to what I just said. Like if you can hold one first and you decide that, oh, later on I want to just switch to another lane in the design industry. Once you've gotten a good background, you have a good foundation from start. Switching to another one will be so much easier. In a shorter time, you are learning it. In fact, you would have been familiar with some tools that you don't need to like learn from scratch like that. So your goal will determine a number of things. Then when you have a goal, okay, I want to be a world-class product designer, you know that you really need discipline to sit down and learn the basics and learn, get a mentor, follow, disturb your mentor, enter their DM, say, I don't understand this one, this one, this one, this one. Just, I believe most of us get what I'm saying. So that's something I would also like to add to that. The place of discipline is very key. The place of setting goals first, then you know that, okay, you think within yourself, what do I need to achieve this goal I've set for myself? How many hours or how long? What's the strategy to achieve this? What's the time duration for this? And that's one of the things that having a mentor also helps you achieve. Okay, if you don't know how to really clarify some of those things, your mentor can always guide you that, okay, in 2 to 3 months, you can achieve this. In the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, 2 years. So those things are very key. And still in line with that is knowing your why. One of the episodes we did, if you remember, is graphic design, staying motivated in graphic design. You have to, sometimes it's very discouraging when you're learning, starting out as a graphic designer, because there's just a lot of, I was speaking with a friend recently, and he said something like, oh, he wants to start learning Blender. And he was like, the interface was scary. And, it was funny. Sometimes you want to learn a particular tool, and just opening the interface alone, the amount of icons, options you see, it's intimidating. And you're like, oh God, like, but then you have to have that passion, that drive that, okay, this is why I'm learning this thing. And I've seen people do it. Like our mentor, like our guest speaker said today, sorry, let me admit, okay. Like our guest speaker said, collaboration. One of the things, community, let me use that. One of the things that keeps you going in the game is joining communities, seeing other people's design, and it inspires you, because you have to feed your mind, you have to feed your eye constantly with good stuff. And then there are different fields to join graphic design. In fact, I have a friend who, of course, he's still going to, I think he's even our next speaker. He's a good designer, but one of the things he's really passionate about is teaching the business of design. He's not really, he does great designs, but he likes to just specialize in, and we have big guys in the industry, someone like Chris Do. Chris Do teaches business of design. I don't think I've seen any of Chris Do's content for him sitting down with Photoshop or one thing and teaching you how to do this. And he's the one holding that niche. In fact, you can decide that, oh, I want to be a design critic. I just want to, analyze designs that, okay, is this design meeting is the goal? Is it meeting up with the objective? Because we know graphic design is problem solving too. So all these things, it's about, getting the right mindset towards learning graphic design, from starting to becoming a pro in it, and what will keep you going. And I believe it was, let me see if there's something. Okay. So I believe you've been enjoying the session so far. You would see that today's session is super amazing. And, we started out with episode 1, getting started with graphic design, episode 2, taking pride and staying motivated in graphic design industry, episode 3, mentorship in design industry, episode 4, navigating the opportunities in the design industry. And I know some of us now are seeing the wide opportunity. Let's just go and research more. If we have questions, you can always, there are so many answers. And the beautiful thing is there are a number of good guys in the industry who are willing to teach, who are willing to share knowledge. Like we have a guest speaker today, is sharing all this for free. People who really want to give, but then you also have to have that right mindset of receiving. And lastly, what I'll add to this is don't get overwhelmed, trying to explore different fields. Always know within yourself that you're still learning. So even if you do a good design and it's not good enough, someone maybe criticize the design, just take it as a motivation to grow. So at this point, sometimes I look back at some of my designs and I'm like, what was I thinking when I did this design then? And what I'm doing now, I'm sure there's maybe some few years from now, I'll look back and be like, wow, can I still do this kind of stuff? You get what I'm saying? So remember you are growing. So keep growing. Don't beat yourself up when you feel you're not good enough. In fact, a number of guys you see who are really doing well in the industry, one of the things that have made them push them to that point of topping their game is this thing called imposter syndrome. Because there's something about it when you feel okay, sometimes when you feel you're not good enough, it can even serve as a motivation because it pushes you that, okay, before I put myself out, I must, it pushes you to do extra work more than you ought to, more than what everyone else is doing. So even you yourself, you won't even know, sometimes you don't even know how good you are already, till maybe you start getting comments from people, like even people you respect, like, oh, you're doing great, I like what you're doing, oh, I like your works, this and that, I like your portfolio. And also that will just be my brief contribution to the amazing teachings, or what do I call it? Yeah, teachings from our guest speaker, Femola Carrot. And so it's time for questions and questions. So please, guys, ask your questions before we end this session, before we give a closing remark. So questions, please, from anyone. Okay, should I start calling names? Questions.
Good evening. I have questions.
Okay. Thank you, Mo. We are listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Jimba, for organizing the class, and thank you very much, Femi, for sharing your lot of knowledge with everyone here. So I have two questions, right?
Okay.
So I want to ask for. I'm sorry about the background.
It's fine, Ma.
Okay. So if you are like, I'm a student, I'm still in the university, and I'm trying to do designs. I'm trying to, okay, one person is just trying to try her hands out on designs and all that. Um, how do you grow, like combining it with schoolwork and everything? That's like my first question, because you're still a student, like school is still your priority, but you don't want to come out of school and start learning to pick up the skill. That's first question. Then the second one is the reason why I joined personally is because I need to do so. For what I'm doing at work. Some of the things I'm doing at work currently, I need to do designs, and I've tried to use Canva, and it has not really helped me. Like I'm a bit limited, and I've not explored the full version, right? So, how do you like? What tips do you have for me that is trying to do like the basic, nothing dramatic, nothing serious, just these little things, just to help what some of the things I'm doing at work. So those are my two questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's have our guest speaker.
All right. Thank you very much for that question. Okay, so for the first question, I'm trying to even see which one to start with. Okay, let me start with the Canva question first. So I would advise that you should continue with your Canva. Don't try to look for the pro version. Understand the tools in your Canva first. Then after you do that, there are free tools on the internet that you can also, dabble into. But please, before you dabble into these free tools, because most of the tools I have, I pay for them. You pay for them, like the Adobe Suite and all that, and you may not want to do that now. So you may want to actually use YouTube videos. So for someone like you, right, you have a specific task you want to fulfill in your office. So you may need to, okay, today I want to design this flyer. Go to YouTube specifically and use specific tutorials teaching you on how to make that particular thing. So once you do that over time, you learn to do what you need to do for your business. So you know that, or for your office, you know that you are not actually, that's if you're not learning graphic design to enter into like the vertical space of graphic design. You just want to understand graphic design on the horizontal level. That's actually the best advice I will give you. Because if I tell you to start by paid courses, to follow a mentor, it will be too strenuous for you because you're already out of that mind. Should I put it that way? But you have where you're working with and you don't want to get overly distracted. But if you're willing to dive into graphic design fully, I would advise that you get a course and do it properly, because whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. Whatever is worth time is worth you sitting with it properly and addressing it the way it should be addressed. But I would say again, just try to get specific tutorials addressing or tailored towards that thing you want to solve at that particular time. Once you do this over and over again, you get used to the tools, and before you know it, you're going to pick up and start, designing yourself, like little things, and then you can now confidently call yourself, oh, I'm a graphic designer. Do you understand? So I think that works. And still continue with your Canva. Yeah. So there are the other tools like Inkscape on the internet. There are free tools. There are a lot of free tools so that you won't, and they have, tutorials in there that, or they have tips what each tool does. Yeah. But there's still a lot of things to say about that though. Okay, then going back to your first question. For the person in the university, I would say one thing, that is the best time to stress yourself. That is the best time to stretch yourself. Because once you're out of school, trust me, it's going to be more stressful to learn these things. So, they used to tell me when I was younger that, bro, whatever it is you learned in school is what you're going to use outside, and that's what you're going to develop on. Well, to a very large extent, I don't believe that. But it started, shaping how I was learning stuff. And I had to take more intelligent and intentional efforts to say, no, I won't let that define me. But the truth is, it's harder to learn these things out of school because now you have responsibilities, you have things to cater to, you have a lot of people to cater for, and plenty things to attend to. So I would say that the thing to do in school is that your pocket money, that pocket money they send to you, buy MB out of it, watch tutorials, follow accounts that are tailored to what you are. I've already said it that you do a lot of research to understand where you actually want to niche into, right? Where you want to dive deep into. So once you have that as a student, then you begin to make your research, pick your money, invest in yourself, read. Then if you can get mentors, not mentors, but I mean a mentor. So you can get a mentor, you can be in a creative community, and be dedicated to it. Because again, once you're out of school, there's a lot of things to do. Just like a if you are in school and you are in a religious group, let me use that word, whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, you're going to a fellowship, you're going to church, there's a kind of dedication you give to it such that you're telling yourself, I want to build myself spiritually before I leave school, such that once I'm out of school, I'll have this and this and this, right? The same thing. It's just the same thing. Just be committed to it. You have to be very intentional and tell yourself, as I'm doing this, my results too must keep going up, because I can't come to school to learn just one thing, to have a certificate. No. It was in school that they told us then that, see, all the software I used to learn back since 2010 through to 2016 when I finished, all those software were gotten in school for free, because one student had the crack, another one had the tutorial, another one had the whatever. So you need to liaise with students that are already also in that space and be on their tail. Make sure that, because that's the time you have to learn all these things as a student. I hope I'm able to answer your questions.
Okay, wow. That was beautiful. Thank you, sir. Okay, just a quick one. We have less than 6 minutes for this session to restart. So once it stops, please let's join back. And then once we join back, we just wrap up. So in addition to what you asked, just adding to what Femo Lakarota said, I think one of the challenges at times with being a student and trying to learn graphic design is time management. And one major thing is, okay, I think I was having this conversation with one of my team guys yesterday, who is also a student, and he raised this similar issue of, okay, trying to balance it with stuff. It's primarily a thing of the mind. It's about your mindedness. You can balance your school well with doing graphic design. And the good thing about it now is that you're using Canva, and Canva is, you even have the mobile version. It's not like Photoshop that if you don't have it on your laptop, and even it has limitations on some laptops. If your laptop is not strong enough, it will be dragging and all. But it's just the mindedness of, okay, and you don't do school activities 24 hours. So those free time, you can always create time. You prioritize design. Okay, design is something I want to know. So you prioritize it. Fine, school comes first. While you're a student, school is priority. But then you need to acquire skills. Myself, for instance, I didn't study design when I was in school, but I learned design when I was in school. I remember spending nights even with Femula Carrot in IDD studio. At some point they thought I was an IDD student, and it still didn't, of course, it wasn't that easy, but it still didn't, affect me. I still came out with 2-1. And if I'll just add this in a sarcastic manner, if it's a Nigerian school, please don't let that even affect you at all. At all. It's not worth it. You can school, this thing is not hard. It's what they give you in class, they wax, and they're asking in English. It's just my own mindset. So I won't sacrifice things that I know that it will pay me off on a big this thing for maybe a schooling system that is not even functioning properly. You go on strike for 8 months. I hope what I'm saying now doesn't get me in trouble. But for real, like, I hope you get what I'm saying. It's just about the mind. You can do excellently well as a student. You can do excellently well as a graphic designer. You don't need so much time. What you need is discipline. Okay, I want to commit 2 hours every day or 1 hour. Okay, she said we're in a private school, please. Okay, yeah, even if it's a private school, I know private school, higher institutions sometimes have this secondary school kind of vibes where they police people around. Yes, it still doesn't affect. It's about, okay, you having it at the back of your mind, have a goal, have a why to learning graphic design. Okay, why am I learning this thing? It's important. I need it in my business. For instance, you might not even commercialize it. It might be for your personal business. So you want to learn graphic design so that you won't be spending so much money hiring designers here and there. you just want to learn this thing, or maybe for your work, this thing just add to your portfolio and all, which is very fine. So once you have that why, it keeps you going. Okay, like I really need to learn this thing. I'm going to take out 1 hour per day. And then you can as well have someone that you report to. Oh, once you do this design, you send it to this person. Oh, please, can you help me review? The person tell you adjust this, move this to this. Even me, I still do it. Sometimes I send it to even some people that are, ahead of me in the design space, some that were on same level. Even sometimes I tell my team guys that I even know better than, oh, just help me review this. And it's possible they just pick out this. But in your own case now, you can just have someone, you send it to who knows much better that will tell you adjust this and that. And lastly, what I'll just add about using Canva, it's not about the tool. Design is more or less like 70% of your creative ability and 30% of the tool you use. There are guys on Instagram that have seen what the amazing stuff they do with Canva. So you can check out guys that are specialized maybe on Instagram. I've seen a couple of them specialized in using Canva. This session is about to end, so please, we'll just rejoin so we take more questions, our guest speakers answers, and we just wrap up this. So in less than 1 minute to stop. So that's just it. I hope we have been able to answer that. Mrs. Oluwa Pelumi Odejide.
Yes, thank you so much, Femi, and thank you so much, Kimba. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Question, please. Okay, so while we wait for others to join, does anyone have a question? Grace and Aston Graphics.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, we are here.
Yeah, good
to hear you.
Okay. I don't really have a question, per se, but I would like to just contribute.
Okay, beautiful. That's
Okay.
fine, sir.
Okay. So just to add more to the point, I think there were times I've taken graphic design tutorials, and I figured that the most important thing I learned in school was not just how to design. It was more about understanding the concept of designing. That is, understanding the principles, the elements of design. With the elements of designs, you'll be able to, such as lines, shapes, and others, you'll be able to understand how to bring out your imaginations using those things. Then with the principles, you'll be able to know how to arrange those elements in a way that is communicative, you get. And then from there, all other things, you can throw them in. But another thing is understanding that keeping it simple is the most important aspect. And that is one thing you should always have in mind, that you have to always keep your designs simple. So that's just what I want to add. So that makes it easier for you to learn. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Aston Graphics, for that. And that's a really good one, because learning the foundations is key. Learning the principles and knowing the elements, it's key, because it's just like I like using this illustration. You want to cook a goosey soup, or you want to cook a particular soup. There is an amount of Maggi you add. There is an amount of salt. There's an amount of this and that you add to it. If you add excess of this, it will mess it up. If you add excess of Maggi, it messes it up. And if you add below what you're supposed to add, you will still get a good result. So the principle is like knowing the right amount of Maggi, salt, and all those things to add, and you make that delicacy. So that's how the principles and the elements work. The elements are the ingredients. The principles are knowing the proportion to add this. And the principles, knowing the proportion and how to mix it up, and the order to get the job done. So thank you very much for that, Aston Graphics. I see you're a graphic designer. Okay, we have someone joining now. So please, any other question? Okay, does Miss Grace have any question?
No questions.
Okay. So how about Steven? Steven, do you have any question? Okay. I can't hear Steven. So in the absence of no question, thank you very much, Mr. Oluwafemi Akingbola, aka Femola Carrot, the founder of Femola Carrot Design and White Space Community. Thanks. Thank you for the amazing session. We really appreciate, the knowledge you've shared with us today, and we still hope to, have you more on our programs. And thank you everyone for also joining. Thank you for the amazing session. And next week, Friday, we'll be having another amazing session titled Personal Branding and LinkedIn Optimization. So please, let's do well to, help reach more audience with this series going on. It will be ending. We have 3 more episodes to go. That's after this. So please, let's help publicize more. Let's help reach more audience. We'll make the videos available on YouTube once, we are done. And thank you, everyone. Thank you. We can call it a day. Bye.
I appreciate you. Bye. Thank you.
Yes, sir.